Okay, let's get into it here with our first keynote speaker, Leonard Armato. Very thankful that Leonard invested the time to be here today with us. Leonard and I know each other because we have the same hometown in Manhattan Beach. And of course, I'm actually not at home today. It looks beautiful there from your background. And Leonard has amazing experience taking brands digital. He's a true innovator. He innovated a lot of well-known sports figures, entertainment figures, brought them into the digital world. And even more so for that, for people like Shaq. He was Shaq's first agent manager. He took them into the business world, which has evolved to be really heavily on the digital side. He was the chief marketing officer at Skechers. He was the president of Skechers Performance. He started the digital media campus. He had investors like Andreessen and Larry Ellison, and was working with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Pamela Anderson there. You can see some of the people he's worked with here. In talking with Leonard recently, I love to hear the stories that you see Oscar de la Hoya, the Kardashians, and of course Shaq, who he has a very intimate relationship with here as well. So Leonard and I are going to have a conversation today. We're going to talk about decentralized entertainment. I've had the pleasure of talking with him over the past couple of weeks and learning a lot from him. Leonard, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here, and I think we're living in a very exciting time. So, I can't wait to kind of share some of my stories, experiences, and point of view with you and everybody else out there.
That's where I want to start, actually. I mean, you have a history of innovation and even an early adopter, and then taking that to Silicon Valley. Obviously, you're big time in the sports world and very well connected in the entertainment space. So can you take us through your experience in digital media? I think it'll help set the groundwork here.
Well, I've always been really pumped up about innovation and doing things that hadn't been done before and sort of transformation. That's why it's such a cool time to be alive right now. Back when I was working with Shaq, I was looking for ways to transform the way athletes and celebrities are marketed so they could own their own IP and then license it across all platforms instead of just being simply endorsers. And then with Oscar de la Hoya, we went from him being just a boxer to actually controlling his own boxing destiny and disintermediating the promoter. And that's kind of what's happened today with Floyd Mayweather and all the boxers of today's world. And at Digital Media Campus, it was at a time when bandwidth was very low. And we were looking to create the first ever incubator for sports and entertainment digital businesses. I mean, we were the first to ever launch a direct-to-consumer footwear company, Dunk. And the technology of that company, which was designed to allow consumers to create their own products online, became the foundation for Nike ID. We owned all of Pamela Anderson's internet rights when she was the most searched person on the internet. We had the first ever direct-to-consumer ticketing company and direct-to-consumer record label. So all of that was exciting, but it was sort of part of the first evolution of the internet before the internet became a conglomerate of various powerful platforms. And so that's where things exist today. And I think we're ready for the next sort of like big revolutionary change. And I'm super pumped to be a part of that if I can be.
Yeah, well, it seems like from our conversations, you're putting yourself right in the middle of that. And of course, you speak with, on a daily basis, some of the biggest influencers in the world, the highest level. And it's amazing to know that, even though we've seen things like you sent me an article about LaMelo Ball and his recent drop and some other celebrities and so forth that you've been speaking with. It's amazing that a lot of celebrities aren't there yet. So what do you see in this decentralized future of entertainment for sports and celebrities and for Hollywood?
Well, it's really interesting because everything is so centralized now. If you think about the way media is sold in sports, so for example, the NBA, and I'm close friends with Adam Silver, who's the commissioner of the NBA, and they take their media rights and they sell it in bulk to like ESPN or TNT. And then they get a lot of money up front, and that's a big incentive for them. But today's consumer doesn't just want to watch every single game. In fact, today's consumer might even just want to watch portions of game or their favorite team or close games. And so there's a real opportunity to engage in what's called microtransactions. And blockchain technology allows you to do that. So I think in the future of media, and again, these big upfront checks by the platforms is a very big drug because you want that money guaranteed. But if you think about the future, here's how I see media rights being administered. Yes, we're going to sell you big platforms, bulk rights, but we're going to retain the microtransaction rights. So you can sell, to ESPN and your cable operators, if they still exist, a certain bulk product, and they can distribute to their consumers that will buy that bulk product that's maybe unbundled. But you want to retain the rights as a sports property to then super serve those fans that want to buy little short segments of games, want to do things that haven't been done before. And then through the use of tokenization, you can incent them to be part of your ecosystem. So I think there's going to be a real transformation, but the drug of big checks is going to make it slower for the big sports properties. I think you're going to see it first with the smaller sports properties. It's already started in the gaming community. We've already seen that. And the two things that need to happen to really get over the hump here is, these new technologies like Theta networks, the ones that are engaged in decentralized streaming, they're going to have to perfect a little bit better what they're doing, because that will make it seamless and they'll be able to disintermediate all the centralized platforms. And then the second thing is what I said earlier, and that is the drug of big money. So that's why these little sports properties or events are going to be the first adopters. I mean, I think the World Series of Poker is already doing this. And I think there's some people in the gaming industry that are already doing this off the blockchain. So it's going to be a slow transition, but it's going to ultimately explode, and we're going to see like a whole new world out there.
That's exciting. And from your purview as well, it's interesting to hear the history of it. So do you think that what's going to take for these big entertainers to dabble or even move over to the decentralized side and get away from that drug of centralized money?
Well, it's all a matter of, the economics of it for them, because all the big sports platforms have tremendous pressure from their owners to deliver dollars, bottom line. And, if you think about the regional sports networks, that's what they've always done for years. They've just paid money to the teams, taken those rights, and they've gone out and sold them. They're really intermediaries between the teams who own the IP and the ultimate consumer, which is the fan. And in the future, as you become more efficient and decentralized, you can disintermediate all these unnecessary middlemen. I mean, that was the original part of why blockchain was so exciting, because you didn't need those trusted advisors to come in there and tell you that this was a valid transaction. It could be validated by the disintermediated swarms out there on the internet. So, the world will change and it will happen. It's just a matter of how fast and when.
Yeah, I'm glad you buy into that. And somebody who has seen the centralized portion of it kind of come to power, it's exciting to hear from you. And now you have a couple projects that we know about. One is documentary films for sports legends is on your plate right now. And you have some unique relationships with some pretty famous legends from the NBA and beyond. How does decentralization, blockchain, NFTs help a documentary movie, for example?
Well, I'm always really big on strategy and marketing. And I think that if that will apply whether it's blockchain technology or anything else. And the thing you have to keep in mind with the documentary film is if you apply the strategy of NFTs to that, you can supercharge your relationship with the ultimate consumer, the ultimate fan. And the way you set it up to increase the value of the film is you look for remarkable moments. Now, I'll give you an example, like Jordan's film, Last Dance. If you remember his last shot against Utah, which was the final shot in his final championship, was a special, remarkable moment. So as you set this film up, you basically surround that moment with specialness so that it becomes even more valuable in the mind of the consumer. And then you turn that into an NFT, and all of a sudden you've got this remarkably valuable NFT. That's just one example, but you probably have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 nuggets in a documentary film like that. So you can think about the moments as NFTs. Individual frames can be NFTs if they're special. And then, of course, I've seen recently some films have actually been sold as an entire NFT, and that can happen as well. And then there's also ways of bundling things, in addition to those moments that can be of value to the ultimate consumer. So I think that's not going to go away. NFTs are only going to become more and more and more a part of documentary films, of films in general, and of media in general.
Yeah, I love that moment example. You know, the saying goes, it takes years to become an overnight success. And there are so many stories behind every moment that make it that much more interesting. I love, and I'm sure a lot of creators and entrepreneurs on this phone call are salivating by thinking about that. Because we can really.
And also, Bill, you know, it works with live events too, because I know you're going to ask me about that. And if you think about a live event, if you set it up with a blockchain NFT type strategy, think about the implications. You're going to have an amazing amount of remarkable moments occur in a live event. You don't know what they are until they happen, but you should prepare for that and have the rights to that. And then the other thing you can do with a live event, which is really interesting, is you can use NFT to create value for your consumer. So your fan, and the fan could get through an NFT, whether it's ticketing or memorabilia or merchandise, or special experiences associated with the event itself. Think of digital trading cards. I mean, you know, the NBA Top Shots thing is a great example of how moments in games and live events turn into something of tremendous value. So I don't think that's going away, and I'm excited to sort of use that strategy in some upcoming live events, which I hope to announce in the near future.
Yeah, you've told me about some of them. They're exciting. I can't wait for you to release those. They're pretty revolutionary. So, Leonard, I can feel your passion. One more question for you.
Sure.
You know, you've been there, done that. You've done it at the highest level. Why are you so excited about this round?
Well, you know, that's a great question. I've always in my career been super pumped when I see the opportunities to engage in something transformational. I was super excited when I met Shaq and saw the opportunity to transform the way athletes were marketed. I was super pumped about Digital Media Campus and building digital businesses in sports and entertainment, although we were a little early there. Hopefully the timing is right now to get involved in something that can be part of the transformation of Internet 3.0, which will be decentralized, efficient, and completely consumer oriented. So that's where I think things are going. I'm excited to be a part of it. I don't know. I just get pumped up about stuff like that.
Yeah, well, you got some exciting projects too. You know, one thing about your background that was really like, wow, you really helped Shaq was in Shaq's Hall of Fame speech. He mentioned you for a few seconds there. And it's one thing to know Shaq, but it's another thing to be part of his Hall of Fame speech. So kudos to you, because now, I mean, he's obviously all over the place and a very positive person in today's society, helping a lot of people. So good job for you for kicking that off. Leonard, thank you so much. We look forward to following up with you and working with you where possible. How can people find you? We have your screen, your Management Plus Enterprises. How can people connect with you if they want to?
Well, I have a very, very easy email address, LA, like Los Angeles, @mpe.com.
Okay. Good for you for getting a 3-letter domain. You must have been early on that one too.
Yeah, early on.
All right, Leonard, we really appreciate your time. Please enjoy that beautiful day in Manhattan Beach.
Yes, thank you
for all the insights, and we'll look forward to talking to you again.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Take care.
You're welcome.
Bye.
A great